This is Calvin Castine. It's the fifth day of January 2004, and we're at the Bowl Mart Lanes just outside of beautiful downtown Rouse's Point for CVAC varsity bowling. The Peru Indians are having a last-minute huddle here as James Tierney is bowling in the first frame of the A division of the boys, and he picks up the spare just barely, getting that 6-pin. Now I'll bring up Justin Ballard for the Cougars. Meanwhile, it looks like the B team is also bowling ahead. It looks like Charlie Martin's already bowled. And Ballard might be holding off and waiting for Peru, their last-minute huddle here. Let's see, coming into today, the Peru boys are 3 games ahead of Northeastern. They are 15-9. Cougars are 12-12. A total of 8 games. Thank you.
The girls, boys A and B. That's not how they're lined up, though. I didn't put them how they were lined up, so I'm not sure
okay,
how they are.
I'll find them unless you want to tell me.
It's the B's over here?
Yeah, it's the B's there, and it's the A's right in front of us. Okay, Ballard gets a strike. We're conferring with the Peru coach. He has had the Peru roster, but didn't put them in the order that they're bowling, so that's kind of confusing for me sometimes if I don't have an idea who's up there at a given moment. It helps when they have their names on their shirts, like this Ashline boy has, but that isn't always the case. In fact, it usually isn't the case. Jarrett Borey gets 7 pins in his first ball here, this third frame. Ashline is up now for Peru. He's the second bowler for the Indians. The first bowler got 8 pins. Now here's Borey. Borey gets 8 for the frame, and Ashline got 9 in his first ball. I'll bring up Josh Friend for the Cougars as Ashline bowls for his spare. He covers it. And Friend, first ball is, avoids the baby split. Okay, we are all set now for Peru, sort of. They're bowling in reverse order. Okay, that'd make it easy. That was Nick Keith just bowled. And Friend spare, yes he did. All right, now Chad Dupree and Alan Mavor will be up for Northeastern. Dupree leaves the 10 pin. Mavor carries a 202 average. And he strikes to start things here in the first frame of game 1. Now Dupree carrying a 175 average. And he'll cover his spare. Nate Rabideau will start the second frame for Peru over in lane 11. Gets 8 pins in his first ball. He had 8 in his first frame. Now here's Dupree, and Dupree leaves a 6-7-10 split. And picking up the spare was Rabideau. Now here's Dupree going for his spare. Looks like the Indians, as Dupree misses his double checks just to make sure. Yep, he missed it. Misses his spare. And I'll bring up Carl Ashline. Looks like the Indians may be giving a few pins to the Cougars. Vice versa, Cougars giving a few pins to the Indians. We'll check that as Tierney picks off 8, is working on a strike. Let's see, Cougars have averages of 202 for Mavor. Friend has a 195. Bory a 176. Ballard a 145.7, and Tierney carries a 188 average as he spares. Ashline still waiting for his ball, I guess. I'll bring up Ballard. Ballard up from the B team. Joe Hack is the other high-ranked bowler for the Cougars. He's not here today. He carries a 187 average. So Ballard with a 145.7 average just barely nipped Charles Martin for the right to move to the A team for today's game. Martin carries a 145.6, so 0.1 difference in their averages. There's Ashline going for his spare, and he will pick it up. Yep, now here's Bory for the Cougars. Bowling in the second. Ballard listed as a strike up there. I didn't notice if he got a strike, but he's listed as having 2 strikes. This is Nick Keith for Peru, getting 9 pins in his first ball. Now Josh Friend. And Friend gets the strike. On the Indian side, Sean Agnew, the anchor bowler, has the top average as Keith gets the spare. Here's Mabor, and Mabor working on a strike, gets 9 pins on his first ball. Bring up Chad Dupree. Chad Dupree has a 175 average. Leaves the 10 pin. Keith has a 174, Ashline a 168, and Nate Rabideau 165. So the Indians pretty well bunched up there, all sitting between 165 and 179 as Mavor covers his spare. Now Dupree. And Dupree gets the 10 pin. So that'll bring up Nate Rabideau to start the third frame for Peru here in lane 12. And just goes Little Brooklyn, and left might be the 3 pin. And over in lane 11, it's Agnew bowling. And just hooking it, put that ball approximately right where the first ball of the frame went. So Rabideau barely misses his spare. Agnew going for what looks like the 6 pin. And he will cover it. I'll bring up Ashline. Ashline ambles over in front of us, so we didn't see the pins fall. He says, hey, I don't know what happened, but they all fell. Don't blame me. Here's Tierney. And Tierney gets 9 pins as Keith steps in. And Keith leaves just the 4 pin. Now Tierney up to lead off, actually to finish up his frame here in the first bowler in the third for the Cougars, and he will cover the 10 pin. 215 to 256 through 2 frames. Peru leading Northeastern. Keith gets the spare. Here's Ballard. And Ballard gets 8 pins in his first ball. He was working on a double. Dupree leaves a baby split. There's Ballard. And he will pick up the spare just barely. And Dupree will leave the 10 pin. So now Borey, lane 11 for the Cougars. Gets 7 pins. And brings up Agnew, Sean Agnew, the anchor bowler for Peru. And he gets 9 pins. See if Borey can knock down that little fence. Going after the head one and left the one in the middle. Trying to play little dominoes there, but it didn't work. You almost have to hit the 3 and 6 and not just go after the 3 on that one, I would think. But he was trying to get the 3, and there's Kren with a double as Agnew picks up his spare. So it's closed up here with Maybor yet to bowl in the third here. It's 321 for Peru, 291 for Northeastern. Maybor working on a spare. Tierney set to start the 4th frame for the Cougars. And Maybor strikes. Here's Tierney with a big hook. He leaves, I believe, a 2 pin. So it's the closest. Here we see 320 on the Cougar side through 3 and 321 for Peru as Rabidou starts things in the 4th frame. He was working on an open, so he doesn't add anything to that 3rd frame total. Next bowler, however, Ashline has a strike, so he'll be increasing that 321. Anytime you mark, you pick up some extra pins here in the next frame. A split for Ballard, he gets 8 pins, and Rabidou's going to miss his spare and have his 2nd consecutive open. Here's Ballard, he's going to shoot for it, and he's going to put it in the gutter. Not going to get either one of them. They'll give him 8 for the frame. And here's Ashline looking to add a few pins. And he's going to get, oh, look at that one. It fell. That 6 pin finally tipped over. Here's Borey. He's going to have a tough split. Borey gets 9 pins. He's coming off an open. So Ashline has the 4-7-10 to contend with. Borey has what looks like the 6 pin standing. Ashline goes for the 2 pins, gets them. And Borey covers his spare. Now Nick Keith for Peru. He leaves the 4-7. There's Fran, who's got a double. And he leaves the 4-7-10. Well, he's got a tough spare to attempt. get the 2 on the left and get a little action there. Had a shot at the 10, didn't go, but at least he got some action off the wall and had a shot at it. And missing his pair is Nick Keith. Cougars have moved ahead. Alan Mavor is bowling for the Cougars, and he strikes. That gives him a double. Now we have Chad Dupree for Peru. And Dupree gets 9 pins in his first ball. Dupree was working on an open. He had a split back in the 3rd frame. Now starting the 5th frame is Nate Rabideau for Peru. Leaves the 10 pin on his first ball. There's Dupree, and he will spare. There are a total of 8 games to be won or lost in the boys match. So 3 games separating the 2 teams as we come into today. If Peru would win all 8, they would move to 11 games ahead of the Cougars. And if Cougars would win all 8, they'd move to 5 games ahead of Peru. So a lot of games to be won or lost. 4 in the A match, 4 in the B match. As Rabideau gets his spare, Agnew going for the 6-10. And he will miss it. He will miss it. And Ashline comes up for the Indians, and his first ball is not bad. The 10 fell. So this leaves the 4 pin. Now Tierney leading off the 5th for the Cougars. He strikes. You see a couple of 300 games being listed on the board. Ashline spares, and now Ballard gets a strike. This is Nick Keith, and he strikes for Peru. Now Borey for the Cougars. He gets all but the 6 pin. We see Jason Friend listed as a 300 bowler this year. Bo Agony, 300 bowler, both former members of the Cougar team. There's Dupree. He strikes. Here's Borey going for a spare. He'll cover it. Let's check the board over here, and John Roberts is up there also. He's the owner here, John Winnick, 298. So we've got Bo Agony, Jason Friend, and John Roberts, who have all bowled 300 games here at the Bowl Mart this year. But John, being the owner, didn't want to put his name up. But he belongs up there too. Agnew gets 8, and Friend gets 9 here in the 5th. Northeastern is ahead by 11 pins on the scoreboard, but they've got a bowler in the wings, so probably closer to 20 pins when this frame settles down. And Friend will also cover. So Agnew and Friend both cover their spares. And currently in the 5th with Mavor set to bowl. We have 450 on the Peru side with everybody marking. Everybody marking on the Cougar side. The Cougars are up by 10. But if Mavor strikes, then he does for a triple. That'll move the Cougars up another 20 pins because he had a double to work on. So he's going to get 10 Actually, he got up to 490 now. He actually got 30 pins for that, because he got 10 for that strike and he got 10 for the 2 previous strikes added to it. So he got 30 on that strike to add to his total. Tierney just barely drops it in the gutter. He will not get the 10 pin. So he had an open. He was working on a strike, so that hurts. Gives him a 103 through the 6th frame. An open always hurts, but particularly if it's on a split, you say, well, wow, there's a hook shot that misses for Rabideau. Ballard, in the meantime, strikes for the Cougars. I'll bring up Ashline, who is working on a spare. We're in the 6th frame, first game of the A teams, and Ashline gets 7 pins. Now Borey up for Northeastern. And Borey gets 7 pins. There's Ashline. And he will pick up his spare nicely. Borey's got double wood. And are we going to see it? No, we can't see it. Just gets one of the pins. Blocked out depending on which way the bowlers move. And Borey put his head right in front of the pins. Nick Keith gets 8 pins in his first ball. Here's Friend working on a strike. And Josh Friend, no, was not working on a strike. He was working on a spare. He strikes there. There's Keith. He's going to put it in the gutter. Unfortunately for us, when we get over to the B team, it's going to be tough to keep track of the scores. The screen doesn't quite pick up the bottom scores. Dupree gets 7 pins. He's got the 4, 7, 10 to try to pick up. He'll get 9 for the frame. Now here's Mavor working on a triple. And he leaves probably the 9 pin. Nice hit, but 9 pin wanted to stand up for a while. Here's Agnew, and he strikes for the Indians. And Borey will cover his spare. Oh, broke. Threw a breaking ball, and it almost broke around the pin. Now here's Tierney. Tierney gets 6 pins in his first ball. Coming off that open. He's going to bring out the tiger ball there. And we have Rabideau getting 3 on his first ball in the 7th. Here's Tierney going for a spare with the tiger ball, and he's going to leave a pin. .601.540 is the current score. There's Rabideau. He's going to spare. Nice ball. Ballard leaves might be the 3. There's Ashline. Ashline leaves a 10 on his first ball. Ballard picks up his spare. Cougars about 60 pins ahead of Peru in this first game of the A division. Ashline misses his spare. There's Borey for the Cougars. And Borey leaves a wiggling 7. There's Keith for Peru. And he gets 8 on his first ball to bring up Borey for his spare. And he'll cover it. .639 to 573 is what the scoreboard reads at the moment. Fren up, he's working on a strike. And he will, whoa. I'm gonna guess that's the 4-7-9-10 as Keith picks up his spare. It's like a 4-7-9-10. I would say that's probably a better chance of getting that than you would the 4-7-10. That was shot that the 9 would go into the 10. Dupree gets 8 on his first ball here in the 7th frame. And Dupree will spare. Here's Friend. Nope. Got 2 of them. Agnew gets a strike in the 7th. Bring up Mavor. Mavor had been working on that triple and got a spare last frame. And he gets 8 pins. Tierney starting the 8th frame for the Cougars. He gets 9 on his first ball. Now Mavor. Mavor spares. Tierney. Hooking, and he's got it. .684 to 605. With Cougars having 1 bowler in the 8th and Peru just starting the 8th. Ballard gets 9 in his first ball. Now Rabideau up for Peru. And Rabideau strikes. Ballard strikes. Oh, spares. Carl Ashline up for Peru. It's 9 pins. Jarrett Borey gets 8. We're in the 8th frame. Here's Borey. Here's me Ashline. Ashline spares. Here's Borey. And Borey spares. The Cougars having 1 more bowler, having bowled in the 8th. It says 721 to 635. Friend will be bowling in the 8th frame. Have Keith getting a strike. Friend working on an open. Keith had a spare to work on. I'll bring up Agnew for Peru, who's working on a double. Oh, excuse me, this is Dupree. This is Dupree who spared his last frame. Friend spares. Dupree got one pin, just one pin. Picked off the 7. So that hurts when you have a spare and you only get one extra pin for it. It's 7 for the frame. Here's Mavor. And Mavor strikes. Now we have Agnew for Peru. Agnew gets a triple. He's got a triple. Anchor bowler for the Indians. Tierney starting the 9th for Northeastern. Gets 5 pins. He's working on a spare. Here's Rabideau for Peru. Spins it to the left and gets 3. He was working on a strike, so no damage done yet. And Tierney picks up the spare. Nice spare by James Tierney. Got all 5 of them, so it's a good spare ball by Tierney. Here's Rabideau looking for his spare. And he's going to miss them all. He'll get just 3 for the frame. Here's Ballard. He gets 7 pins as that double wood for the spare. $6.99, $7.80. They bowl 3 games each. Then total pins accounts for the 4th game, the 4th point you can pick up. Ashline strikes. Ballard will pick up the spare. So now Nick Keith for Peru. And Keith gets 7 for the first ball. Leaves a split. Borey. Borey strikes. We're in the 9th frame. Tough spare here for Keith. He's going to give it a shot, but it's 9 for the frame. I'll bring up Friend. And Friend will strike. Josh Friend with the strike. Here's Dupree. And he gets 8 on his first ball. Dupree right between them, picks off the spare very, very nicely. And swear he did that on purpose. Very nice ball from Chad Dupree.
What are you getting?
Now here's Agnew for Peru as we're waiting a reset in lane 11. Agnew left to 7. Agnew pulled it a little too much and it's in the gutter. There's Mavor, who's had a long wait for a chance to throw his ball, and he gets 8 pins, leaves the 4-7, leaves the 4-7. The scoreboard thinks that's a split, but it's not exactly what I'd call a split. 4-7. Here's Tierney starting the 10th frame. Gets a strike. There's Mabor going for the spare, and he should have it. He does. He's got it. Okay, let's see. Tierney with a 188 average. Doubled. We've got Nate Rabideau with a 165 average, starting the 10th for the Indians. Cougars, barring a complete collapse, will take this. They lead by about 100 pins right now. Four left for Rabideau. Here's Tierney with his final fill ball, and he will strike out. He strikes out to end the game. He'll be close to he's got a 177. Close to his average, but 11 pins, 11 pins under his 188 average, 177. Ballard gets a strike. Rabideau finishes with a 113, which is quite a bit below his 165 average, 52 pins lower. Now Ashline for the Cougars, for the Indians, waiting politely for the lady next to him to bowl. Ashline gets 8, leaves double wood. Here's Ballard. Ballard had that strike to start the frame. Gets 7 on his first fill ball. Well, the best he can do is 180. Oh, wait. No, he can get a 199, huh? The best he can do now is a 199. But he won't do that. I get a 196, according to my figures. Not 196. He had hopes of getting a 200. Ashline finishes with a 158 as he has an open in the 10th. Keith gets 8 pins in his first ball. Here's Borey. He's getting 8 pins in his first ball in the 10th frame. 9:26 to 8:04, Northeastern leading. There's Keith, and he will cover it. He gets a spare. Now Borey looking to get the 4-7, and he will do it. Looks like Northeastern is taking the first game of the B match. Strike for a fill ball for Nick Keith. Borey's fill ball gives him a 155. Now Dupree. Dupree gets 9 pins. There's Friend now up for the Cougars. And Friend will get 6 pins. So let's see. Tierney with a 188 had a 177. Ballard with a 145.7 average had a 196. Dupree will have an open in the 10th. Here's Friend going for his spare, and he's going to pick it up. So he'll get a fill ball. Let's see. Continuing with the Cougars, Jared Borey has a 155. He carries a 176 average, so he's below his average. Here's Agnew striking. Here's Friend. And he strikes to end the game. Over on the Peru side, a 113 we said for Rabidou compared to his 165 average. Ashline carries a 168 average. He was 10 pins under with a 158. Nick Keith has a 174 average. He finished with a 159, so he was 15 pins below his average. Charles Dupree, a 175 average, finished 35 pins lower with a 140. Here's Mabor leaving, nothing to late drop on the 10, so he strikes. Ashline 28 pins below his average. Friend rolled a 181, and he carries a 195 average, so he's nice game, but 14 pins lower than his average. Here's Agnew. He gets 7 pins. Mabor is going to have a game higher than his 202 average. He gets 9 on his first fill ball. So I think he can get a 217 if he gets that one. Agnew picks up the spare. And Mabor will pick up his spare. So let's see, Mabor, 179 for Agnew, and for Mabor, 217. So 997 for the team, 854 for the Peru team. 143 pin difference. Mabor 15 pins over his 202 average. Agnew with a 179 is right on his 179 average. We have moved quickly over to the B match, and bowling for Peru are Jason Bruno with a 114 average, Scott Corthell with a 128, John Herdman with a 137, Kevin Mendofic with a 159, and Ryan Eilers with a 160. For the Cougars, Charles Martin with a 145.6. Ryan McDonald, who just finished bowling there, carries a 121. Mike Noggle, a 118. Chris Burley, a 116. And Anthony Poquette, a 114. We're going to try to figure out, Corthell is up for the Indians. We're going to stay wide here and try to figure out what order the Cougars are bowling there. You see, Martin is up. So apparently it was the Indians who were taking the match, not the Cougars. I thought they'd put it up the same way, but the Cougars are on the right on this board and the Indians are on the left. So let's see who's there for the Cougars. Charlie Martin is the anchor bowler. Ahead of him is Anthony Paquette. Ahead of him is Ryan McDonald. Ahead of him is Mike Nago with Chris Burley, the leadoff bowler. Okay, I think we're getting caught up here. All right, this is Peru bowler. That was Ryan Eilers, I think. Eilers starting the second frame. Or not, no. Jason Bruno. Eilers was finishing up the second for the Cougars, for the Indians. This is Scott, nope, it's not Scott Corthell. I'm going to have to get the... Okay, John Herdman. John Herdman is bowling second. Noggle is up now for the Cougars. That means Burley just finished. Noggle gets 7 pins. Corthell is up. For Peru. I don't know if they're just lazy or they think they don't need to put any more up than just the first initial, but for my purposes, they could put a little more information up on the list of names there and put the first 3 letters of their first name or something. We can't go first and last initials because quite often people have the same first and last initial on the same team. There's McDonald getting 9 pins. And let's see, we should have Kevin Mandofik now for Peru. McDonald picks up his spare. All right, Eilers with a 160 average, Mandofik with a 159, Herdman with a 137, Corthell 128, and Bruno with a 114. And Mandofik picks up his spare. This is Paquette bowling for the Cougars. Gets 7 pins. Well, here's Eilers. And Paquette spares. Eilers gets 7 pins. Eilers, the anchor bowler for Peru. Spares. Now Martin for the Cougars. It's 9 pins. Martin misses his spare. Burley gets 9 in his first ball in the third frame. Burley's big hook misses, so he leaves a 7 pin. Brings up Bruno for Peru to start the third frame for the Indians. And Noggle for the Cougars. Bruno gets 6 pins and Noggle gets, looks like 5. The extra bowlers are over on the 15th and 16th. Those used to be the desired lanes, the 15th and the 16th. There's both players getting opens. Bruno missing his spare completely, and Nago getting a couple more down. Now here's Herdman. And Herdman strikes to start the third frame. McDonald for the Cougars, and he will do a little back action there. Looks like he left 5. And Corthell for the Indians. It's 8 pins. And McDonald will spare, yes. Spare for Ryan McDonald. Corthell looking to pick up his spare. And he will successfully avoid those balls. There's Paquette. For the Cougars, he strikes. So that's what I wanted to do. That was the plan. He wanted to strike. And we have Mandafik getting 8 pins in his first ball. And Martin up for Northeastern. Martin strikes. Mandafik puts it in the gutter. That's Bruno starting the 4th frame as Eilers looking to complete the... Oh wait, Eilers is there. Finishing the 3rd frame. Here's Bruno here. And here is Burley for Northeastern. Burley strikes. Nago for Northeastern. It's 8 pins, and finally Bruno able to throw his second ball. Puts it in the gutter. There's Nago. Nago spares. Brings up Herdman. And Herdman will leave a split. McDonald up for the Cougars. He will pick off 7 pins. Herdman going for a split. And he'll pick up 1 more. McDonald will spare. Corthell up for the Indians, gets a strike, and Paquette gets 5 pins. And 9 pins. Paquette gets 8 for the frame. That was, who was that? That's for Peru. It's Mandafik. Mandofik misses his spare. The wind did it. Martin gets 7. Martin gets 9 for the frame. Tierney, we saw him get the strike. Now it's his 5th in a row. He said when he got his 3rd one over there on that alley, he said, "Now I'm bowling, look at that damn camera off me." So we put the camera on him, and he still got a strike. So maybe it's not the camera. Maybe it's him thinking about the camera. Yeah. It's not the camera that's the problem. Double wood for Burley. And a strike for Bruno. We're in the 5th frame. Burley gets the first pin of the double wood, but can't get the back one. Now here's Herdman. He gets 8 pins in his first ball. Noggle up for the Cougars. Gets 9 pins. Here's Herdman going for his spare. And he will not get it. No, he left one. There's Noggle, and he will miss his spare also. Corthell up for Peru. He gets 6 in his first ball in the 5th. And just like that, it'll bring up Ryan McDonald. He gets 6 in his first ball. Corthell. He will spare. McDonald gets 5 for the frame. There's Mandofik. He gets 9 in his first ball, leaves the 10 pin. And now we have Paquette for the Cougars. Paquette gets 8. Mandofik misses his spare. What happened? We can't figure that out when he misses that ball, that pin. Missing his pins also is Paquette. Eight pins for Eilers as Martin steps in for the Cougars. And Martin gets 8 pins in his first ball. There's Eilers. We're going to check the scoreboard, but Eilers will miss. Well, they're all over the place. And another missed spare. Everybody's missing the spare. Everybody's getting into the act. Looks like 465 to 530 through 5 as Burley gets 5 pins in his first ball while we're checking the scoreboard. Bruno up for the Indians. He will spare, or strike, excuse me. He strikes, a slow-mo strike. Burley gets 8 for the frame. Herdman up, we're in the 6th frame. Noggle kind of snuck up on us there and bowled 7 pins. There's Herdman. And Noggle misses his spare also. Corthell up for Peru. Strikes. McDonald gets 9 in his first ball here in the 6th. Kevin Mandofik. And McDonald spares. Mandofik leaves the 4-7. And Tierney had a spare and 9 pins on his next ball here. So with the camera not on him, he hasn't left an open, but he's stopped striking at least. We'll see if he'll pick up a spare. Oh, good thing he did. Otherwise, it would have been the camera's fault. There's Paquette. 7 pins. And 8 pins for Eilers. Anchor bowler Martin up for the Cougars. He strikes. Reminder, this is viewer-supported local television. You got it. Viewers sometimes forget that. They're leaving the hometown cable restaurant without paying their bill. Burley gets 8 pins and leaves himself a baby split. Bruno was up for the Indians. We're in the 7th frame. 6 pins. And Burley gets 9 for the frame. 577 looks like to 541. Cougars up by about 30 pins as Nago picks off about 2 or 3. And we got Bruno going for his spare. And he'll get just 2 more. Here's Nago picking up his spare. Herdman gets a couple. And McDonald leaves a couple. Herdman gets 8 for the frame. And McDonald gets a spare. There's Corthell, and he strikes. No. A wiggling 10. Oh, Paquette for the Cougars. He picks off the spare ones, and now he'll go for the main ones. Corthell misses the 10 pin. And Mandofik up for Peru. It's 8, leaves the 6-10. There's Paquette, he spares. Martin up for Northeastern. We're in the 7th frame. Martin, the anchor bowler, gets 9 pins in his first ball, avoids the baby split, and a nice pickup there by Mandofik. Eilers is up for Peru. Martin going for his spare, and he'll pick it up. Here's Eilers' first ball in the 7th. And he leaves the 3-10. Eilers picks up the spare, bring up Bruno to start the 8th. I sincerely doubt if he was a part of the 1999 team. As his shirt says, Burley gets a strike. CVAC champs, it says, 1999. Nago gets 6 pins. Bruno gets 8 for the frame. Gives him an 86 through 8. Now Herdman is up. He gets 8. Nagel will miss his spare. He'll get 8 for the frame. At this point, 597 through the 7th to 650 for Northeastern. Here's Herdman. Puts it in the gutter. There's nothing to it, guys. Nothing to it. It's all in the wrist. McDonald gets a strike. There's Corthell. He picks off ones on the left side. Let's. Oh. Turney got 9 pins. Got a strike. He's working on a strike. Just don't tell him we're watching. There's Corthell. Gets 8 for the frame. Bring up Paquette for the Cougars, going for his spare. Tierney covers his spare. Paquette covers his. Mendofic up for Peru. Gets 9 pins. Here's Martin, the anchor bowler, in the 8th. He gets 7 on his first ball. Now Mendofic. He will miss his spare. And Martin will miss his also. Wrapping up the 8th is Eilers as Bruno's set to start the 9th. And we wrestle with our camera here, the camera case, to get a new battery. Bruno gets 8, Eilers gets 9 for the frame. Strike for Burley. Nagel gets 7 pins on his first ball. We missed Herdman's first ball while we were switching batteries. He got 9 pins. He's going to miss the spare, though. Nagel will pick up his spare. Brings up Corthell. And he gets 9 on his first ball in the 9th. And 9 pins for McDonald. Corthell going for his spare. He will cover it. Let's see, 656 through 8, 719 through 8. McDonald bowls quick. Once he decides to bowl, he's up there quick. Throws it fast. So we glance away from him and look back. Sometimes he's already released the ball. Okay, McDofick's got, looks like 7 pins in his first ball in the 9th, and Paquette's got 5 pins. Moffett gets 9 for the frame. Here's Paquette. Picks off the 10 pin. Well, left the other 4. He just wanted to make sure he got that 10 pin. Nobody likes to leave the 10 pin, so he got that one. Now, Eilers gets a strike to complete the 9th frame for Peru. And we have anchor bowler Martin for Northeastern and Burley, leadoff bowler for Northeastern. Here's Martin in lane 13. He strikes. That completes the 9th. Here's Burley starting the 10th frame. He strikes. And over here looks like 874 to 978 or 968. Looks like Northeastern is doing well in that one. Tierney gets another strike with the camera on him. Burley gets just 1 pin in his first fill ball. We have Bruno up for Peru. Old Jinx Tierney here. You've only got 7 on that ball. He'll say it's the camera. But he finishes with a 242, so without the camera, he did all right. Okay, let's see. It's Bruno. And here's Noggle. 153 for Burley. Burley finishing with a 153 compared to his 116 average, so Burley did well. Bruno carries a 114 average, and he strikes out. Here's Noggle with 7 pins. So striking out there was 124. Give him a 124. Nice strong finish for Bruno. Let's see. Noggle finishes with a 117. Here's Herdman. He gets a strike. So Noggle 117. He carries a 118 average. Strike for McDonald. 124, as we mentioned, for Bruno, for 10 pins over his average. Herdman strikes. Everybody wants to strike here in the 10th frame. And McDonald doubles. So things are tightening up here. Let's see what it says through 9. 829 to 792 looks like. So I'd say Peru, if they keep striking out, definitely within striking distance. So up to McDonald to keep pace here, and he's going for his strikeout, and he will not get it. He gets 2 strikes and 9 pins, and that's a 1 pin better than Herdman does. So Herdman gets a 114. McDonald a 166. Herdman carries a 137 average, so he's below his average. The 166 for McDonald is 45 pins over his 121 average. Here's Paquette for the Cougars. He gets 7 pins in his first ball. It's definitely down to the wire here. Paquette will miss and have an open in a 10th. That could be crucial. Here's Corthell. He gets 8 on his first ball. I'd say Peru still has a shot at this one. Unless that was a 710, that was not a 780, that was a 708. So looks like the Cougars are going to take this one as Martin strikes. And over on the other side, Northeastern boys are leading by about 130 pins, so I would say for the league standings following this game here, as Martin strikes, gives him a turkey. Here's Mendopic. I would say for league standings, halfway through tonight's match, with Northeastern apparently leading 3-1 for the night, the Indians are one game ahead of the Cougars. There's Martin with another strike. So he strikes out. Mendopic picks up his spare. So let's see, a 126 and a 159. The 126 for Paquette is 12 pins over his average. Martin with a 159 is about 14 pins over his average. Mendopic with the strike. 127 for Corthell is right near his 128 average. Mendopic has a 159 average. He only got a 119. And Eilers working on a strike, so he won't strike out, but he could still pick up the spare and get a fill ball here if he gets the 10 pins on this ball, on his spare ball. And he leaves 2, so he'll get 8 for the frame. So I'll give him a 133 and 8 something to 940 or so. So 133 for Eilers. That's 27 pins below his average. We're going to wander over to catch the girls' match, so don't go away.
Way to go.
Cassie Roberts with at least 6, 7 in a row. 7 in a row we're hearing from her grandfather. Gives a 253. How about that? Not bad. As we're waiting for the girls to finish their second game here, we'll give you the averages. For the Cougars, Cassie Roberts a 181, Danielle Tierney 173, Megan Sorrell 157, Erin Sorrell 130, Danielle Parker 124, Kelsey Deso was the only extra bowler. She carries a 123 average. The Cougars are unbeaten. They are 12-0 coming into today. They've won both games. So at this point, they are 14-0. Peru was 1-11 coming in, so right now they are 1-13. As soon as this match here is completed, this particular game here, the second game. The Peru averages, Danielle Kluke carries a 136, Kayla Rabideau a 95, Latasha Van Valkenburg 94, Mary Garrow a 150, and Sammy Duo a 143. And with that, we are set for the third game, the final game for us. There's Cassie Roberts. She's got a 223 and that 253, and starts it off with 9 pins here. Kluke gets 9 pins also for Peru. There's Roberts, and she will spare. Kluke up for the Indians. And she will spare. Now Erin Sorrell for Northeastern. Hey, gets a late drop for a strike. Didn't smile. Now Kayla Rabidou for Peru. Puts it in the gutter. That was not the plan. For Northeastern, Danielle Parker gets 3 pins. We'll bring up Rabidou for Peru. She gets 8, and Parker gets about 7 for the frame. Now we have Latasha Van Valkenburg for Peru, Danielle Tierney for Northeastern. Van Valkenburg puts it in the gutter, and Tierney strikes for Northeastern. Now Megan Sorrell for the Cougars. And she gets 9 pins on her first ball here in the first frame. The girls are way behind today. I don't know what the holdup is, if they've had lane problems or they're just busy chatting when they're supposed to be bowling. That happens with girls especially. Van Valkenburg spares and Sorrell spares, but Van Valkenburg was a little more surprised by it all. Now Mary Garrow for Peru. And she gets 8. Now Kluke is up for the Indians. And she will get 8 on her first ball in the second. Garrow misses her spare. I'll bring up Kluke. Kluke spared in her first frame. And she will spare in the second. Now Duel. And Duel leaves a 10 pin. I'll get us to Kayla Rabidou, second bowler for Peru. And she'll get just about 3. And Duel will spare. Cassie Roberts starting the second frame for the Cougars. Strikes. We are situated higher here. We're standing now. We were sitting before. Rabidou picks the spare. Erin Sorrell up for Northeastern, and Sorrell will pick off 7 pins. She was working on a strike. Now Van Valkenburg. And Sorrell gets 8 for the frame. Van Valkenburg gets her spare. Garrow for the Cougars, Garrow for the Indians, Parker for the Cougars. Here's Garrow. And she will leave a split. Here's Parker. And she will get 8 pins on her first ball. Garrow will get the 10 pin. Parker will wince and miss it. Gets us to Duel for Peru, and Duel strikes. Now Tierney for the Cougars. Tierney strikes. Sorrell bowling in the second frame for the Cougars. Megan Sorrell gets 9 pins. Cassie Roberts starting the third frame for the Cougars, working on a strike. And she gets a double. There's Sorrell, and Sorrell will pick her spare. No, just barely missing it. Megan Sorrell missing. Here's Erin Sorrell in lane 9, and she strikes. Kluke up for Peru. And Kluke gets 7 pins. Here's Parker for the Cougars. And Parker strikes. Here's Kluke. Leaves the head pin. Here's Danielle Tierney. 8 in her first ball. Rabidou for Peru. There's a baby split. Tierney covers her spare. Sorrell gets 8 pins. Rabidou will pick off the 10 pin. It's the one she wanted. All that matters. Here's Sorrell. She spares. Latasha Van Valkenburg. Seven pins. Peru team a little bit slow to get up and move here. That's why this game is rolling so slow. They're just a slow, pokey team. Need a coach that's going to prod them to get up there and throw the ball. Oh well. Garrow, the fourth bowler for the Indians. Gets 7 pins in her first ball. Kluke will now start the fourth frame. And she'll leave the 4, 6, 7. Garrow with the 1, 3, 6. Picks off the head pin. Quite pleased with herself. There's Kluke. Puts it in the gutter. Duel. Anchor bowler for Peru gets a baby split. Bring up Rabidou. Missing her spare was Duel. Roberts due up, working on a double. Lead bowler for the Cougars, starting the fourth for Northeastern. She triples. Coming off a 223 and a 253. Now, we don't want to jinx her, but a 224 would give her a 700. 6 pins for the frame for Rabidou. Erin Sorrell picks off the 10 pin. Bring up Van Valkenburg. And she gets 6 in her first ball. Sorrell going for her spare and leaves the 9 pin, I believe. Good try. As you see the Cougars right up there, ready to bowl. Here's Van Valkenburg. And here's Parker. Van Valkenburg will get 8 for the frame. Parker's going to get 5 on her first ball. Now Garrow steps up. She leaves double wood. Here's Parker. Oh, bounced all around the 10, but didn't get it. Garrow going for the double wood. Misses it. Tierney strikes. Danielle Tierney with a strike. Here's Duel. Picking off 7. There's Megan Sorrell. She gets 9 on her first ball. Duel will spare. And there's Sorrell, and she will just miss it. Just missing the darn thing. Gets us to the 4th frame, or the 5th frame. 5th frame, and Cassie Roberts. It's 9 on her first ball, working on a triple. There's Kluke. It's a pin on her first ball. Roberts going for the spare. And she makes no mistake about that one. Kluke with a 136 average. Garrow's the high average for the team with a 150. Duel has a 143. Rabideau a 95, and Van Valkenburg a 94. There's Kluke picking up the spare, and Aaron Sorrell picking off a few on the side.
Cassie, there comes some again, too.
Rabideau's going to put it in the gutter. Sorrell going for a spare, and she's got it. Averages on the Cougar side are Roberts with a 181, Tierney 173, Megan Sorrell 157, Aaron Sorrell 130, Parker, who's bowling right now, a 124. Leaves a 7 pin. Here's Rabideau going for her spare. Needs to get them all to get the spare. She'll get a goose egg for the frame. Parker will cover it. There's Van Valkenburg. And here's Tierney. Van Valkenburg gets 9, as does Tierney. Both of them left with a 10 pin. I see Tierney's up there ready to bowl. Van Valkenburg's chewing the breeze. Tierney spares. Van Valkenburg still hasn't grabbed her ball. They need to get a coach that's going to keep their heads in the game here. I'm not saying the coach doesn't, but that's what I would do if I were coaching. Get their heads back in the game. They're talking about everything else. 5 for Sorrell. And Van Valkenburg spares.
No, he didn't have it this year. This year, no. He didn't have it. He just didn't play either. Going down.
There's Sorrell. Spares. There's Garrow. And she strikes. Kluke set to start the Cookie set to start the 5th or 6th frame. Duel finishing up the 5th. He gets 9 for the frame. There's Kluki. 7 pins. And Duel's gonna miss him. There's Kluki. And Kluki gets 8 for the frame. And up Roberts was working on a spare. She's had spare, 3 strikes, and a spare. So he's the 4-7. Now Rabidou. Another gutter. Roberts needs to mark every time she gets a spare. Give her a 117 through 5. There's Rabidou hoping to knock something down this time. And she'll get some. She'll get about 3 or 4. Here's Sorrell, Aaron Sorrell. And there's Sorrell missing her spare. And Letitia finally gets up here. Tasha gets 8 on the first ball. Here's Parker. Gets 8 on her first ball. And Valkenberg will pick up her spare. Yes! And Parker will miss her spare. You have to bet, it would have bet the other way around. Parker just missing the 7 pin. And Van Valkenberg just nipping her extra pin to knock it down and get her spare. Here's Garrow. Tierney gets 8 on her first ball, as does Garrow, but Garrow's got a split. In the gutter. There's Tierney, and she will spare, yes. Danielle Tierney with the spare. Duel up for the Indians. Strikes. There's Megan Sorrell for the Cougars. Gets 6 pins. Roberts set to start for Northeastern, start the 7th frame. And she strikes. Now, Megan Sorrell leaves the 10 pin. Let's see the team totals here. 656 to 567 through 6. Aaron Sorrell gets 7. So let's throw that first ball in that same area. Just to see what will happen, I guess. Here's Kluki. Gets 8. Now Sorrell going for a spare. And she'll get 7 for the frame. So that's what we've got going so far here. Cookie going for her spare. She's going to miss it, put it in the gutter. There's Parker for the Cougars. Leaves the 6 pin. There's Rabideau. Picked off 3. Parker covers her spare. Brings up Tierney. With Rabideau going for her spare. Rabideau will pick off an extra pin, and Tierney will leave the 10. Leaves the 10. Now Van Valkenburg is up there. This is Tierney. Spares. But they have something going on lane 10, so the holdup is
Jam on lane 10.
not Peru's fault. Sorrell. Megan Sorrell gets 3 pins. Took a play out of her sister's playbook that time. And Sorrell will pick up, no, she left the 7 pin. Over in the boys match, looks like the Northeastern boys are leading Peru in the B match. And the A match is up for grabs here, 8:57 to 8:58. The Cougars having one more bowler. Actually, now they're both have 3 bowlers done. John Roberts on the ball here. I think Bren just struck out. Yep, he struck out. Gives him an even 200. Let's see what that total is here. 884, 888. It's going to come down to their anchor bowlers. And Mayboard's working on a strike. Agnew working on an open. So looks like the Cougars will probably win that one. Okay, John Roberts has worked his magic. Now Latasha Van Valkenburg gets 9 pins. She missed it. Now Garrow up for the Indians as Kluke gets set to start the 8th frame. Garrow gets 7. There was Kluke. And Kluke leaves the 6-10. There's Garrow. Garrow gets 8 for the frame. Here's Kluke in the 8th. Drops it in the gutter. Stepping up there very quickly is Duel, and she gets 8 on her first ball. Rabideau going in the 8th frame. And picks off 8. There's Duel. Finishing up the 7th, and she gets 9 for the frame. There's Rabideau. Whoops. Changed their mind. There's Roberts. Gets 9 for the first ball. Now will Rabideau throw it or give us another fake? Roberts needs a spare. Got to mark every time here to keep the Pope alive for a 700 game. Gives her a 157 through 7. There's Erin Sorrell. And she gets 9 on her first ball. Here's Van Valkenburg. And she gets 8 on her first ball. Sorrell will spare. Van Valkenburg will miss her spare. Silence you hear everywhere else as the boys are long done. Parker misses. We're wrapping up the 8th here with Garrow bowling. It's 9 on her first ball in the 8th. Parker gets 6 for the frame, I guess. There's Garrow. Puts it in the gutter, and Tierney. Tierney strikes. There's Duel. It's 7 on her first ball in the 8th. Now Sorrell, Megan Sorrell. It's 8 on her first ball. Duel for the Indians will pick up the spare. A nice spare for Duel. It's Sammy Duel. And Sorrell will miss her spare. Now Roberts working on a spare. Needs to get a couple strikes here. And she gets a strike. Looking for a 700 series. Here's Kluke. Kluke leaves the picket fence. And Sorrell. Oh, wiggling 10. Usually that's the first one she gets, is the 10. There's Kluke. For the 9th frame. Kluke leaves the head pin. Sorrell will miss her spare. Now Rabideau. For the Indians, Parker for the Cougars. Rabideau picks off 3. Here's Parker. She will pick off 3 on the other side. Rabideau going for her spare. Puts it in the gutter. Here's Parker going for her spare, and she will get 7 for the frame. There's Danielle Tierney. She leaves a 10 pin. Here's Van Valkenburg. Misses. Tierney spares. Now Van Valkenburg. Oh, what happened there?
What happened there?
The ball bounces back, but not sure what happened, why the pin setter was down. Pins were already there, and all of a sudden the pin setter came down. There's Sorrell. Just does the first one count? Waiting for Peru to start the 10th frame, or actually end of the 9th frame here. Sorrell gets 9 for the frame. Garrow was off visiting. And we got another one after her. Leaves a 7-10 split. Channel 15. Cookie.
Yeah. Remember Carl was on there.
Garrow misses. Cookie leading off the 10th for Peru. And Cookie spares. There's Duel finishing the 9th.
Yeah, I did.
Strikes. So they'll bring up Roberts. Working on a strike. Cookie gets 8 on her fill ball. Roberts needs a strike here. No. So she's going to get a 197. She's going to 197. 217 is about the best she can get. She needed that to get the 224 in a 700 series. She'll pick up her spare. She's got a 223, a 253, and she was just going to come a little shy. That wiggling 9 pin, I think it was, that is going to cause her to not get their 700. She will finish with a 217 in a 693 series. There's Rabidou. She strikes. Says, pay attention here, Cassie. I'll show you how it's done. Here's Erin Sorrell. Leaves the 10 again. Either she knocks down the 10 on her first ball or she leaves it. $119 for Danielle Kluke. She carries a 136 average. Roberts with a 181 average. Rabidou gets 1 pin on her first fill ball. Sorrell.
Really?
Sorrell up with her spare. There's Rabidou, and she'll put it in the gutter. That'll complete her game. There's Sorrell completing her game, and she strikes. Well, let's see, 72 for Rabidou. She has a 95 average. Sorrell with a 136. She carries a 130 average. There's Parker, who carries a 124 average. It's 8 pins. And Van Valkenburg gets 8 pins. Van Valkenburg carries a 94 average. Parker looking for her spare. And Van Valkenburg will put it in the gutter. Tierney steps right up there and picks off 9 pins. Well, let's see. Now Garrow up for the Indians. Tierney gets the spare. Garrow gets 8 pins.
Come on, Daniel. A lot of pins.
Let's see. 115 for Latasha Van Valkenburg. She has a 190. Oh, she has a 94 average. Tierney with a 102. Well, actually, Parker with a 102. Parker carries a 124 average. Tierney. Garrow with a 93. Duel. It's 8 in her first ball. There's Sorrell. Megan Sorrell. It's 6 pins. Tierney get a 203. Duel will miss her spare, so she will finish with a... I'll tell you in a moment. There's Sorrell picking up her spare. Duel gets a 148. Megan Sorrell finished with a 117. 940 something to 778. Cougars take all 4 in the girls match. Megan Sorrell carries a 157 average. And Jamie Duel a 143, and that's going to wrap it up. They're starting to clean the house here at the Bowl Mart. Thanks for watching, and for those of you supporting viewer-supported local television, hometown cable.